Let's break down what's going on with Cardano. In order to do this, we're actually first going to look at Bitcoin, then we're going to go into Ethereum, and then finally we'll actually review Cardano. And I'm going to do this in a really meaningful way, so do stick with me all the way through the video, as it is very important that you understand Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then where Cardano sits. Okay, so let's kick things off with Bitcoin. At the point of recording today's video, which is a little bit ahead of time, it is $67,888. Okay, we have seen obviously some volatility in the market and all that kind of stuff. If I go into all time here on CoinMarketCap, you can see we've had exponential growth to the upside for Bitcoin. This is fueled from the Bitcoin spot ETFs, the speculation around that initially, and of course the launch of the product, which saw stock market money flowing into Bitcoin, right? And the same is going to happen for Ethereum, and I think it's really important that we kind of note on that. Here we can see that our total market cap for Bitcoin at the moment is $1.337 trillion. Okay, this is because if you multiply the price by the circulating supply of 19.7 million BTC, that is what you end up with. And so the questions that I'm going to be asking today, specifically of you in the audience, and you can let me know in the comments down below, is not only your Cardano ADA price prediction, but also your Bitcoin price prediction. Okay, this is very important because a lot of people are speculating that Bitcoin is likely to go up towards that $200,000, which some people might even say that's a bit on the low side and we're actually targeting out $500,000, right? Some people will be, that's a bit too high, we're probably talking more like 150, right? There's somewhere in the middle. So I've chosen $200,000 to kind of say this is roughly what people are expecting, retail investors are expecting of BTC. When we do this, we can see a future price of $200,000 BTC. Circulating supply being 19.7 million. The current market cap, as I said, was 1.33 trillion, and the future market cap price based on the future price of $200,000 would be $3.9 trillion, right? So pretty decent growth potential on the future market cap for BTC, right? And so depending on how much you put into this box here, so let's say 150,000, right? That's going to change up your future market cap to being $2.9 trillion. If you want a $500,000 Bitcoin, then you're talking about a $9.8 trillion market cap, right? So I think it's important that we kind of reflect on where things have the potential to go and where we think they're actually likely to go, right? So I'm going to leave this at $200,000 for now, as it's a nice medium area, and its future market cap would be $3.9 trillion, right? That brings us over to the Ethereum side of the argument, right? Because we have already seen a Bitcoin spot ETFs, right? They've launched, we've seen fantastic growth so far, and I still see future growth in BTC on the back of those ETFs. The Ethereum spot ETFs have been approved by the SEC. We're just waiting on the S1 forms to get sign off from Gary Gensler. Once that happens, we're likely to see full speed ahead when it comes to the Ethereum spot ETFs. So the question then becomes, what is your Ethereum price prediction, right? Let me know yours in the comments down below. A lot of people are speculating that we might see $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 Ethereum, right? Now we have to obviously reflect on where our current market cap is, which is essentially $464 billion, right? Which is driven from the price multiplied by the circulating supply here, which is 120 million ETH. Let's head back over to our spreadsheet and let's go ahead and show you what's going on here. So if we had a future price of $20,000 Ethereum and our circulating supply is 120 million ETH, then our future market cap would be $2.4 trillion, right? And that's a pretty significant jump from its current status, right? Where we see $463 billion market cap jumping up to about 2.4 on the back of an Ethereum spot ETF, right? And so if we think about the potential here for Bitcoin and Bitcoin spot ETF and the growth that it has seen, and we then think about, where Ethereum might potentially be going, and like I say, people have all sorts of different price predictions, whether it's $10,000, which would be as a $1.2 trillion market cap, or whether we want a $15,000 future price for ETH, then we're talking about $1.8 trillion in market cap for Ethereum. And so I talk about Bitcoin, and I've spoken about Ethereum so far in today's video because they are projects, they are cryptocurrencies that everyone out in the space has some kind of idea as to kind of where they think the price action is going. Whether you are a fan of Cardano or not, right? You have an understanding that Bitcoin's likely to do, 100,000, 120,000, 150,000, whatever it might be. Ethereum, you're like, yeah, we've seen great growth so far. We've got the Ethereum spot ETFs. We're likely to see a surge up to 10, 15, maybe even $20,000. And then on the flip of that, then there's these people who are basically undervaluing Cardano in relation to these cryptocurrencies. The Ethereum spot ETFs are incredibly important for the altcoin market. We are going to see a lot of altcoins have significant runs to the upside. And let's face it, they're not going to stop at Ethereum spot ETFs either. We are going to see other altcoins have their ETFs in the coming months, years as well. Solana, Cardano, these are just a couple of obvious ones alongside XRP as clear examples. So I think it's important that we understand that Bitcoin, Ethereum having great growth like this is also going to be great for the altcoin market. Although the altcoin market is lagging ever so slightly behind that of Bitcoin and Ethereum, we do note that there's still fantastic growth that has been achieved in the altcoin market overall. And it's important to note that although we are not going to be looking for very similar numbers that what we have here for Bitcoin and Ethereum in terms of their future market caps and future price potentials, Cardano nonetheless is going to see some significant growth to the upside nonetheless. If we take a look at Cardano on CoinMarketCap on all time, we can see that we did have a price high peak of $2.86. I think it was actually $3.10 depending on your data source. And you can see that it has come down quite aggressively. At the point of recording, we're 45 cents, right? And we note that the market cap is $16 billion, but it did actually have a significantly higher market cap way back in a day of over $91 billion, right? So in its previous all-time high, it had a $91 billion market cap. Very important that we understand this. Okay, this is critically important, in fact. The second in supply is 35.6 billion ADA, and that is a huge amount out of the 45 billion that is its maximum amount that it will ever exist. Now, it's important to note that obviously you're not going to see thousands upon thousands of dollars on a cryptocurrency that has billions and billions of tokens out there, right? It's very important to note that. But if we do go ahead and bring up into relation Cardano's price prediction of somewhere between $5 and $12 on the conservative side, our market cap would actually be only $428 billion, significantly lower than Ethereum, significantly lower than that of Bitcoin. So the question becomes, do you think a $12 ADA is actually out of the realms of possibility if the rest of the crypto market starts to balloon up in relation to Bitcoin and Ethereum? Not to the same degree, but following the suit of the rest of the crypto market. Essentially, Cardano has a really good, strong chance of actually hitting somewhere in these numbers. But even if we wanted to be more conservative of only having $5 ADA, well, that would only put it at $178 billion. It's less than double from its previous all-time high in terms of market cap. And this is really also important to know. There are some crazy numbers where we might say, okay, we have the potential to go to $38. It would put it at about $1.3 trillion and future market cap. It's still lower, significantly lower than the market cap of Ethereum at $1.8 trillion. I really want to kind of stress, I cannot stress it enough, right? Market cap is quite trippy because it doesn't actually show you the amount of money flowing into a project. It doesn't show you the amount of money that you can extract by just selling everything you would have, be able to pull out, let's say all Bitcoin was instantaneously sold like this, there's not actually $3.9 billion that they could extract from the market. It's significantly less. And it's important that we understand that market cap is just a very simple calculation. Price multiplied by circulating supply, meaning that if you just look at market cap, you're not going to be getting the full picture. It's much better to think about how price moves, which is supply and demand. The supply and demand are two metrics that are overlooked by retail investors, but they are critically important for all price movements, whether that is the price of diesel, petrol, the milk or the bread, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Everything comes down to supply and demand. If there is so much supply drowning a market, the price goes down. And if there is so much demand and not enough supply, the price goes up. And so when we see great development work happening for Cardano, and we see that the future of Cardano is being built, and we can see it with modular improvements every few months, and we see the GitHub commits, we see a lot of development happening, we see lots of projects building on the ecosystem, and we can see that, yes, it might not be the favorite of the VCs who are basically out there to try to tell you it's a ghost chain and that it's not going anywhere. But for the long term and for the future of cryptocurrency in itself, Cardano is very well positioned. It has technology that has been built with the future in mind. And I think for the most part, price predictions to one side, Cardano has the best chance to stand the test of time. There are many others who came first to market, but were unable to innovate and stay with the current times. Just to name a few clear examples, BlackBerry, Nokia, Blockbuster, right? These are all companies in the past that were the top of their field. Even Yahoo used to be top of their field before new companies came along with new ideas, new innovations, and they just couldn't keep up with the new competition, and eventually they die out. Over here, well, in Dubai and in the UK specifically, Yahoo just doesn't really exist. It's only really over in the US, and it's a significantly smaller company than it ever was in the past. Take a look at BlackBerry, who went bust because they just were unable to see where the future was going, alongside Nokia, who also struggle immensely. Blockbuster basically had the opportunity of buying Netflix and decided not to. And we obviously saw what happened to Blockbuster when they went bust. Ultimately, guys, all I'm saying is that although there are some clear market leaders at the moment, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and a few others, it's important to note that just because they're there right now doesn't mean that they're going to be there for the long term. There are problems under the hood. Sometimes codes doesn't really execute the way that you expect it to, and billions of dollars are sometimes lost. We've seen this historically with Ethereum, for example. Their pivot from proof of work to proof of stake and wasn't exactly an easy transition. Their proof of work mechanism historically also caused billions of dollars of damage in the early days as well. These things are forgotten about these days, but in anyone who was around in the time, and OGs will remember the amount of hacks and basically money that was stolen in the very early days of Ethereum. The transition from proof of work to proof of stake took way longer than expected because they had to completely rewrite the foundation in order to do so. Cardano is built in a modular way that allows for forkless upgrades over time, and I think this is the right approach. We can obviously see that Ethereum agrees with Cardano in the way that proof of stake is the future, and they had to make that pivot themselves. All I'm saying, guys, is that the future for Cardano is bright. I think if Ethereum has spot ETFs, I think it's only really a matter of time until Cardano has a spot ETF in the future as well. And I do think that a $5 to $12 price prediction for Cardano is incredibly probable, and a $38 Cardano is probably off in the distant future, but something that I can see happening in time. You can let me know what your thoughts are on all of this in the comments down below. If you have found today's video useful, informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe. And if you haven't done so yet, check this video out right here.